There is an amended complaint before the court. Mr. McCann, do you wish to make it? We are represented. You have the right to a preliminary hearing. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Mr. McCann, do you wish to address the issue? Is it correct that you wish to waive or give up your right to have a preliminary hearing in this case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is this your signature on the form telling me that's what you would like to do?
That's my signature.
At the time that you signed this form, was it your understanding that what you would be doing this morning is giving up just your right to have this hearing and nothing else? In other words, you are not giving up your right to have a trial. Is that understood?
That's right.
The waiver of preliminary hearing has the approval of the court. Defendant is ordered bound over for trial before the circuit court. Is the state prepared to file an information at this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor. There has been communication with the
1991, 130, branch A, Adam F. and Graham, for Raymond, and Bentley on.
Mr. McCann, anything further?
nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Boyle?
Nothing, thank
The preliminary hearing questionnaire and waiver. Dr. Smale, is there any statement that you'd like to make on this record with regard to Mr. Boyle's statements?
Assistant District Attorney Greg O'Mara and Milwaukee Police Department Captain Ken Moyler. We have this date filed with the court an amended complaint. It adds 3 counts, and those counts are count 1, count 2, and count 5. The defense has been supplied with a copy of the complaint yesterday, an unsigned copy, and that is a duplicate of what has been filed this morning with the court.
Hey, it's Hex Fam. What's up, brah? We're all fam here.
So how many books have you written now?
I can't read. I can't read.
That's the reality of it, guys. That right there. That's the reality.
It's Hexus and Bunny. We're about to go to bed. Just kidding.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I'm just Bunny.
Okay. So
Black makeup on my nose. All right. First off, hello, Stephen P. Kitty Cat.
Stephen Kitty Mamas.
Woof. Watch your language. Hey, Natalie.
Not a we.
Mikey.
Mikey.
Hey, it's that Mikey guy that sent us all the news. Not funny, fam.
Bruh. Hey, Calvin.
Nadine.
Hi, Nadine. So we've been doing this what 2 years now?
Yeah, it's sleepy times.
No, we've been doing this about 2 years now, and we have actually never
I don't
covered
know how.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
I don't know
and we
how.
talk about him in every single episode, or at least make a reference to him. He is actually like the poster child for being a serial killer. You know, when you think of a serial killer, you think of, you used to think of like, Ted Bundy, Edmund Kemper, but when Dahmer did what he did, he is the absolute poster child for serial killers in America because of it. That the average man, and all of a sudden you just go into his apartment and there's bodies everywhere, but you didn't think about it. He was such a nice guy.
Look at him. He looked nice. He spoke politely. He was not a bad looking guy.
Mhm.
All right, let's jump into this. So Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, born May 21st, 1960, and died November 28th, 1994. He's also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster. He was an American serial killer and sex offender who committed the murder and dismemberment of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991.
And he was able to charm his way out of being arrested when a couple of them left or escaped and got them back.
Mm-hmm. Well, many of his later murders actually involved cannibalism and necrophilia, and the permanent preservation of body parts,
specifically,
typically all or part of the skeleton.
He had his own shrine. He had bones and everything built of his victims and stuff like that too. So yeah, and then he also had the infamous plastic, the 55-gallon.
Is this where they got the idea for Gormagon on
Gormagon?
On bones, I think it was.
It could be. I think I know what you're talking about.
Gormagon's the one where they're gradually replacing the skeleton with body parts from the people that they've killed and eaten.
I haven't seen all the bones.
It's literally like a whole entire like half a season.
You know what we actually need to finish, even though they didn't finish the series? Mindhunter.
Yeah.
We're only got a couple of episodes into the second season. Man, that's a good show.
I have a book called My Pie, and it's about me eating pie.
It's called Dreams Are Floating, bro. Dreams are floating.
It's called Penises Are Appropriate to Give Your Mother.
All right. Let's get back on track.
All right. All right. So although he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and psychotic disorder, Dahmer was found to be legally sane to stand his trial.
He was legally sane. He was also the one of his disorders. It gets mixed. Stop stealing my gag, you thieves. I'm sorry, Stephen P. Kitty Cat.
My baloney has a first name. It's called Billy. My baloney has a second name. It's called Jimmy.
It's a disorder that can be mixed up with autism, and they suspect that he actually had that.
Yeah.
Very much a sociopath, a psychopath. So. I can't see.
Dreams are floating in a farm filled with taters and imaginary folk. That might be even better, to be honest. Yeah. Like that's some good poetry there, Mikey. Better than some we've seen.
So.
All right, so we're going to do this again. Borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, psychotic disorder, found legally insane to stand trial. He was convicted of 15 of the 16 murders that he had committed in Wisconsin and was sentenced to 15 terms of life imprisonment on February 17, 1992. Dahmer was later sentenced to a 16th term of life imprisonment for an additional homicide that was committed in Ohio in 1978. On December 28, 1994, Dahmer was beaten to death by Christopher Scarver, a fellow inmate at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin.
Now, this is where one of the biggest rumors that came in that he took the broom handle and sodomized him to death with it. Really, what happened was he was just beaten to death. And one of the biggest travesties, though, of the justice system, the COs basically just turned their back on it.
Mm-hmm.
They let the guy beat him to death.
Well,
and I'm not, it's Dahmer. He's a terrible person, but
no, Kitty, that's my papa. It's in response to stop stealing my gags. Go ahead.
No,
that was in response to stop stealing my gag. So. All right, so Dahmer's early life. Dahmer was born May 21st, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the first of two sons to Joyce Annette Flint, who was a teletype machine instructor, and Lionel Herbert Dahmer, a Marquette University chemistry student and later research chemist. Lionel Dahmer was of German and Welsh ancestry, and Joyce Dahmer was of Norwegian and Irish ancestry. Some sources report Dahmer was deprived of attention as an infant. Other sources, however, suggest that Dahmer was generally doted upon as an infant and toddler by both parents. Although his mother was known to be tense, greedy for both attention and pity, and argumentative with her husband and their neighbors, that could be an issue too.
Natalie says, I've always thought it was paid hit.
Yeah.
It feels like it. They basically they couldn't get the death penalty, and then all of a sudden these COs who basically had some interest in this, and they were like, "Oh, here we go. I'm just going to turn our backs. We got paid off."
Damn it, Maggie! Respect my authority. I love you guys. You're awesome. All right. As Dahmer entered first grade, Lionel's university studies kept him away from home much of the time. When he was home, his wife, a hypochondriac who suffered from depression, demanded constant attention and spent an increasing amount of time in bed. On one occasion, she is known to have attempted suicide with...
where are you at?
It's Equinol.
I thought it said fentanyl for a second, but that was not made back then.
Equinol. Also meprobamate.
Is that?
It's a pill.
Okay.
Consequently, neither parent devoted much time to their son, who later recalled that. From an early age, he felt unsure of the solidity of the family, recalling extreme tension and numerous arguments between his parents during his early years. Dahmer had been an energetic and happy child, but became notably subdued after a double hernia surgery shortly before his fourth birthday. At elementary school, Dahmer was regarded as quiet and timid. One teacher later recalled that she detected early signs of abandonment in Dahmer due to his mother's illnesses, and the symptoms of which increased when she became pregnant with her second child. Nonetheless, in grade school, Dahmer did have some friends, although it was a small number of friends. In October of 1966, the family moved to Doylestown, Ohio. When Joyce gave birth in December, Jeffrey was allowed to choose the name of his new baby brother. He chose the name David. The same year, Lionel earned his degree and started work as an analytical chemist in nearby Akron, Ohio. From an early age, Dahmer manifested an interest in dead animals. His fascination with dead animals may have begun when, at the age of 4, he saw his father removing animal bones from beneath the family house. According to Lionel, Dahmer was oddly thrilled by the sound that the bones made and became preoccupied with animal bones, which he initially called his fiddlesticks.
His fiddlesticks.
Yep. He occasionally searched beneath and around the family home for more additional bones and explored the bodies of live animals to discover where their bones were located. So in 1968, the family moved to Bath Township, Summit County, Ohio. This address was their third in 2 years and Dahmer's sixth address since marriage or the Dahmers' sixth address since marriage.
Doesn't that sound like a murder couple right there? The Dahmers.
The Dahmers.
The Dahmers.
Dahmer was just a weird kid, but I agree with Nat. There was something weird about his death and Scarver.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oddly thrilled. Yes, verbatim. Oddly thrilled.
Oddly thrilled.
Ah, fiddlesticks. Both of them. Ah, fiddlesticks. So,
Yeah.
hold on. This is pretty cool. I actually have a bone chime made of deer bones. They made great decor. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. My
So
my
cool.
uncle was an avid hunter, and until he messed up his shoulder, and he had so many buck's heads or deer's heads and all that on the walls and all sorts of stuff. Had venison and
Which
bear
one?
meat. My uncle Fred.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah. Well, he had venison. He always had a plenty of supply of venison and bear meat. Bear meat's greasy,
Bear meat's very greasy.
but
I like venison though.
He would make venison jerky and stuff. That was fucking amazing.
Nadine says a sitcom, The Dahmers.
The Dahmers. Haha. Sorry, I'm sharing out right now, guys.
So, the home stood in 1.5 acres of woodland with a small hut, a short walk from the house.
Natalie, Fred the Demon.
Fred the Demon, yeah.
By the way, guys, we already knew this was going to be like a 3-part episode, and it's going to be a 5-part episode because we just keep joking around.
So the home stood in a 1.5 acres of woodland with a small hut, a short walk from the house where Dahmer began collecting large insects such as dragonflies and moths, and the skeletons of small animals such as chipmunks and squirrels.
He didn't.
Some of these remains were preserved in jars of formaldehyde and stowed within the hut.
But he didn't collect spores, molds, and funguses.
He might have. 2 years later, during a chicken dinner, Dahmer asked Lionel
Can I fuck your chicken?
what would happen.
Sorry. I had to.
Dahmer asked his dad what would happen if the chicken bones were placed in bleach. Lionel, pleased by what he believed to be his son's scientific curiosity, demonstrated how to safely bleach and preserve animal bones.
Wait, is that kitty cats and roosters? Can I say what I actually think it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Jeffrey Dahmer to the chocolate factory.
He worked. He actually worked at a chocolate factory for years.
So,
while he
okay.
was killing.
His dad demonstrated how to safely bleach and preserve animal bones. Dahmer incorporated these preserving techniques into his bone collecting and also began collecting dead animals, including roadkill, which he would dissect and bury beside the hut, with the skulls occasionally placed atop makeshift crosses. According to one friend, Dahmer explained to him that he was curious about how the animals fitted together.
Yeah, he also wanted to see the insides and stuff like that, not just the bones.
Well, yeah.
He wanted to see what made him tick, or something like that. Yeah.
In one instance, in 1975, Dahmer decapitated the carcass of a dog before nailing the body to a tree and impaling the skull upon a stick in the woodland behind his house. As a prank, he later invited a friend to view the display, claiming he had discovered the remains by chance.
Dahmer was pretty funny, actually.
The same year, Lionel taught his son how to preserve animal bones. Joyce began increasing her daily consumption of Equinil,
Dun dun dun.
laxatives, and sleeping pills.
Ew. So she's pooing herself while she's having vivid nightmares.
Apparently. So, sorry, I'm doing something real fast.
Dun dun dun.
Quinn.
What is that?
That's what I'm looking up right now.
I bet you it's got to be an upper. If she's taking sleeper.
Okay, it's
Method.
it's supposed to treat tension, anxiety, and nervousness.
Huh.
Very serious interactions with alcohol.
Was she an alcoholic too?
It didn't say. It's a tranquilizer.
Dude, so she's on a downer and a downer and a downer.
It's a carbamate derivative used as an anti-anxiety medication.
Huh.
And Yep, it's a tranquilizer.
Hmm.
Substitute for a benzo, though.
What was it? The Zanny on a granny? Or the
Granny on a
Zanny? So he could have been a taxidermist or serial killer.
Choices,
or
choices.
both. I think he actually was both, Natalie. He actually, in the end, he was both. He was a taxidermist and a serial killer.
Yeah.
He did try to preserve penises.
So
Stuff like
basically, her taking all these pills, trying to off herself with Equinol, all of that made her a little bit less tangible for contact with her children and her husband. So, Dahmer's adolescence and high school. From his freshman year at Revere High School, Dahmer was seen as an outcast. By the age of 14, he had begun drinking beer and hard alcohol in daylight hours, frequently concealing his liquor inside the lining of an army fatigue jacket that he wore to school. He is known to have mentioned to one classmate who inquired why he was drinking scotch in the morning history class that the alcohol he consumed was, quote, my medicine. Although largely uncommunicative in his freshman year, Dahmer was seen by staff as polite, highly intelligent, but with average grades. He was a keen tennis player and played briefly in the high school band. When he reached puberty, Dahmer discovered that he was gay. He didn't tell his parents at all. In his early teens, he had a brief relationship with another teenage boy, although they never had intercourse. By Dahmer's later admission, he began fantasizing about dominating and controlling a completely submissive male partner in his early to mid-teens. And his masturbatory, his spank bank.
His masturbatory fantasies.
Thank you. His spank bank gradually evolved to his focusing upon the chest and torso of the, in his fantasies.
He, whenever he had his victims too, he loved to listen to their heartbeats.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff, yeah.
So these fantasies gradually got intertwined with dissection. When he was about 16, he conceived a fantasy of rendering unconscious a particular male jogger that he found attractive, and then making sexual use of his body. On one occasion, Dahmer concealed himself in bushes with a baseball bat to lie in wait for this man. However, he did not pass by on that particular day. Dahmer later said this was his first attempt to attack someone.
It wasn't just someone who was fantasizing. He was someone he actually was stalking.
Yeah.
And the guy was running around, and something threw him off that one day. He found out, or they found out later on, and collaborated a story that he wasn't there on time, and that literally saved his life.
Yeah. So, despite being regarded as a loner and an oddball among his peers at RHS, Dahmer became something of a class clown who often staged pranks, which became known as doing a Dahmer. That's something else now.
What are you doing a Dahmer? Just some kid runs out of your house naked, and someone's running after him trying to catch him.
So these,
what did I walk into here?
Bleeding or bleating, like meh. And
you said bleeding in it.
Bleating.
I heard bleeding. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Simulating epileptic seizures or cerebral palsy.
So he had say that one more time. He pretended?
He would pretend that he was having a seizure or that he had cerebral palsy.
Would that be on the same lines as what Kemper would do?
Kind of. No, more like along the same lines as what
Kemper would
Bundy would do.
Kemper, no, I'm not talking about for whatever, for sexual whatever. If only young Jeffrey had exhibited some red flags as a youth, technically to aside from the alcoholism, there wasn't that many. So that people saw because he hid a lot of it.
Oompa loompa doopity doo. Jeffrey stirring up some chocolate for you. What do you get? Jeffrey guzzled down meat. If you want the rest of the song, listen to Macabre's album Dahmer.
Yeah, Macabre's awesome. Kemper with his sisters, they would play that whatever the death chamber or the execution, whatever, where they would pretend, and they would basically pretend to put Kemper to death with like in the gas chamber, and he would act it out with his kid, with his sisters and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, Clarice,
Clarice, are the lambs still screaming?
but
Man,
yeah.
I'm tired. What the heck?
What's going on here?
I'm-
Oh no, you can't show that picture.
Why?
That's porno.
It is not.
Oh man.
JPEG.
We're what?
I'm showing something.
Well,
Why
I know,
are you
but-
doing that?
It's kind of like the show just stopped.
Not at all.
There it
I
is.
wanted to show you guys what Dahmer
A
looks
young
like.
Dahmer.
This was 1978 when he committed his first murder.
78 was
When he's committed.
no, it was in high. He was still in high school, wasn't it?
Yep.
Or, yep.
He was 18. This is his senior year picture. And he actually committed his first murder in 78.
Yep.
So by 77, Dahmer's grades had declined. His parents hired a private tutor with limited access. The same year, in an attempt to save their marriage, his parents attended counseling sessions. They continued to quarrel frequently. When Lionel discovered Joyce had engaged in a brief affair in September of 77, they both agreed to a divorce, telling their sons that they wished to do so amicably. Lionel moved out of the house in early 78, temporarily residing in a motel on North Cleveland Massillon Road.
It's porn. It's porn. It's porn. Wait, what? That wasn't porn.
No. Jeffrey loves his sausage. He did. So, in May of 78, Dahmer graduated from high school. A few weeks before his graduation, one of his teachers observed Dahmer sitting close to the school parking lot, drinking several cans of beer. When the teacher threatened to report the matter, Dahmer informed him he was experiencing, quote, a lot of problems at home, and that the school's guidance counselor was aware of them. That spring, Joyce and David moved out of the family home to live with relatives in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Dahmer had just turned 18 and remained in the family home. Dahmer's parents' divorce was finalized on July 24th, 1978.
Well, it wasn't just that he remained in the home. One of the things that really got to him, the main issue he had was abandonment, so he always wanted to keep everything, every one of his victims. He came home and his parents were just gone.
Yeah.
They didn't explain anything. They were whatever. They already moved out while he was at school.
Yeah. One of the interesting things was watching that interview with his dad and him, and they mentioned that. And the dad was like, "Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Like,
It was messed up.
it was bad." So, late teens and early 20s first murder. Actually, we're going to go to a quick commercial. So, all right, give me a second here.
Here we go.
We'll be right back.
Yay.
This is Mikey from Out of the Ordinary, and you're watching PBDC TV.
thing in the morning, when I'm listening to music and getting a little bit of time for some creepy research, I'm always representing with my PBDC merch. What a better way to have a cup of coffee in the morning.
Don't forget to check out our other cool merch at rootsbleedred.com. That's rootsbleedred.com.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Yes, they completely ghosted their kid.
Yeah.
It was messed up.
But that's one of the things that like really got him on the whole making his own personal sex slave zombie that was his and would never leave him. Psycho Man 13, stop telling me to smash the bell. Every time you tell me that I destroy my phone.
Apparently, Oddmother, Aka, Mr. Ghoul, and Mikey are making cameo appearances on Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat tomorrow night. Apparently, they shouldn't be leaving their pictures out there for him to use. Oh boy.
Oh, that's
hey, you know what? Mikey actually sent you the picture of him. All right. So, murder of Stephen Hicks. Dahmer committed his first murder in 1978, 3 weeks after he graduated. At the time, he was living alone in the family home in Bath. On June 18th, Dahmer picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Mark Hicks, who was almost 19. Dahmer lured the youth to his house. They're the same age. Jesus Christ. He's older than him. He's not a youth to him.
The two youths.
The youths.
Wait, did you say the two what?
So,
did you say youths?
Dahmer lured Stephen to his house on the pretext of drinking. Hicks, Stephen, who had been hitchhiking to a rock concert in Chippewa Lake Park, Ohio, agreed to accompany Dahmer to his house upon the promise of a few beers with him.
This is 1978. He's probably going to see Kiss or something like that.
That Dahmer, maybe it was Styx. That Dahmer had at his house.
We hope it was Styx.
I hope it was Styx.
I can't stand Kiss.
According to Dahmer, the sight of the bare-chested Stephen Hicks standing at the roadside stirred his sexual feelings.
I do declare I'm feeling the vapors.
Although, when Stephen Hicks began talking about girls, he knew any sexual passes he made would be rebuffed.
So,
after several hours of talking, drinking, and listening to music,
came up with an idea.
Stephen wanted to leave, and I didn't want him to. Oh, fiddlesticks!
Wait, I'm sorry, Mikey. Is that?
Ha ha. Oh crap! I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh no! Don't change the color of the keyboard right now.
I don't want to. So he wanted to leave. Dahmer bludgeoned him with a 10-pound dumbbell. He later stated that he struck him twice from behind with a dumbbell as Stephen sat upon a chair. When Hicks fell unconscious, Dahmer strangled him to death with the bar of the dumbbell, then stripped the clothes from his body before exploring his chest with his hands, and then masturbating as he stood over the corpse. The following day, Dahmer dissected Hicks's body in the basement. He later buried the remains in a shallow grave in his backyard before several weeks later unearthing the remains and removing the flesh from the bones. He dissolved the flesh in acid before flushing the solution down the toilet. He crushed the bones with a sledgehammer and scattered them in the woodland behind his family home. So, college and army services.
The one thing sorry, I keep burping.
Mm-hmm.
Dahmer actually was a not a bodybuilder, but he was a weightlifter. He was was his size like 6'2", 6'3"? He was a big guy. So yeah.
So
Sorry.
Okay.
Burping.
Yeah, quite a bit. This is why I keep moving the freaking thing.
No, we need to move it closer.
No, we don't need to have an entire freaking thing of burps.
No, we could actually do that.
I'd have to say I look like I work in 1980s porn or really douchey PE coach. What the hell? So 6 weeks after the murder of Hicks, Dahmer's father and his fiancee returned to the home, where they discovered Jeffrey living alone in the house. That August, Dahmer enrolled at Ohio State University, hoping to major in business. Dahmer's sole term at OSU was completely unproductive, largely because of his persistent alcohol abuse throughout the majority of his term. He received failing grades in Introduction to Anthropology, Classical Civilizations, and Administrative Science. The only course Dahmer was successful at was riflery, having received a B. His overall GPA was 0.45 out of 4.0.
Yeah. He just wanted to drink. He had no interest in any of this.
There's a lot of black stuff on my face now.
Oh no.
So on one occasion, Lionel actually paid Jeffrey a surprise visit, only to find him strewn with empty liquor bottles. Despite his father having paid in advance for the second term, Dahmer dropped out after just 3 months. January 1970, on his father's urging, Dahmer enlisted in the U.S. Army, where he trained as a medical specialist at Fort Sam Houston. That's where I was. In San Antonio, Texas. On July 13th, 1979, he was deployed to Baumholder, West Germany, where he served as a combat medic in 2nd Battalion, 68th Armored Regiment, 8th Infantry Division. According to published reports in Dahmer's first year of service, he was an average or slightly above average soldier. Owing to Dahmer's alcohol abuse, his performance deteriorated, and in March of 81, he was deemed unsuitable for military service and was later discharged from the Army. He received an honorable discharge, though, as his superiors did not believe that any problems Dahmer had in the Army would be applicable to civilian life. Now, let me just show you. Dahmer in Germany, passed out, drunk off his ass.
They did something to him. They touched him. Look at his pants open.
Or he
right
touched
there.
himself.
Who knows?
Yeah. So, on March 24th, 1981, Dahmer was sent to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I was there too. For debriefing and provided with a plane ticket to travel anywhere in the country. Dahmer later told police that he felt he could not return home to face his father, so he opted to travel to Miami Beach, Florida, both because he was tired of the cold and in an attempt to live by his own means. In Florida, Dahmer found some employment at a delicatessen and rented a room in a nearby motel. Dahmer spent most of his salary on alcohol and was soon evicted from the motel for non-payment. He initially spent his evenings on the beach as he continued to work at a sandwich shop until phoning his father asking to return to Ohio in September of the same year. When he returned to Ohio, Dahmer initially resided with his father and stepmother and insisted on being delegated numerous chores to occupy his time while he looked for work. He continued to drink heavily, and 2 weeks after his return, Dahmer was arrested for a drunken disorderly conduct, for which he was fined $60 and given a suspended 10-day jail sentence.
Those were the days, man. That happens now. You're gone for years.
Apparently. So, Dahmer's father tried to unsuccessfully wean his son off alcohol. In December of 81, he and Dahmer's stepmother sent him to live with his grandmother in West Allis, Wisconsin. Dahmer's grandmother was the only family member whom he displayed any affection for. They hoped that her influence plus the change of scenery might persuade Dahmer to quit drinking, find a job, and live responsibly. Initially, Dahmer's living arrangements with his grandmother were harmonious. He accompanied her to church, willingly undertook chores, actively sought work, and abided by most of her house rules, although he did continue to drink and smoke. This new influence in his life brought results, and in early 82, Dahmer found employment as a phlebotomist.
Actually, I think that's one of the things with Dahmer, though. Even though he was a
phlebotomist,
he still didn't like the sight of blood, though.
No, but you have to train to be a phlebotomist.
Well, yeah. So he trained.
So it doesn't show that he trained. It just shows that
No, he did train. I'm sorry, that's a typo right there. He did train to become a phlebotomist. The course isn't actually that long. It was like a few months. Drinking Dahmer.
So he did that at the Milwaukee Blood Plasma Center. He held his job for a total of 10 months before being laid off. Dahmer remained unemployed for over 2 years, during which he lived upon whatever money his grandmother gave him. Shortly before losing his job, Dahmer was arrested for indecent exposure. On August 7th, 1982, in a Wisconsin State Fair park, he was observed to expose himself on the south side of the Coliseum, in which 25 people were present, including women and children. For this incident, he was convicted and fined $50 plus court costs.
Someone asked him how he was doing it. I don't know where I heard this at or read it, but someone asked him how he was doing that particular time where he was exposing himself while he was jacking it in front of like all those people. Someone was like, "Are you enjoying this, man?" Like, he guess he had this like giant grin on his face, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, man, I actually am." When I read that, I'm sorry. I know it's a deviant move, but I was laughing so goddamn hard.
Well, so in January of 1985, Dahmer was hired as a mixer at the Milwaukee Ambrosia Chocolate Factory, where he worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. 6 nights a week, with Saturday evenings off. Shortly after Dahmer found this employment, an incident occurred in which he was propositioned by another man while sitting reading in the West Allis Public Library. The stranger threw Dahmer a note offering to perform fellatio on him. Although Dahmer did not respond to this proposition, the incident stirred in his mind the fantasies of control and dominance he had developed as a teenager, and he began to familiarize himself with Milwaukee's gay bars and gay bathhouses and bookstores. It doesn't say gay bookstores, so.
I'm sorry. Just a couple dudes, bears dressed up in leather outside of bookstores. He probably enjoyed being arrested mostly because the dropping the soap. Well, probably.
What? No, Erumatio. Erumatio. There might have been. Pretty sure there might have been Erumatio.
No, actually he mostly
anyway
over the bodies is what he did. But Edmund Kemper though was the master of Erumatio.
I know. The stranger threw Dahmer a note offering to suck him off. Okay, so he also he is also known to have stolen male mannequins from a store.
Oh, what was that 80s movie?
Which he briefly used for sexual stimulation until his grandmother discovered the item stowed in a closet and demanded that he discard it. Are we done?
I'm just picturing his grandmother coming out with the head, stains all over it. Jeffrey, why is it so sticky? Okay, all right, I'm done.
You good?
Whew. Okay.
You good? We got 15 more minutes.
Yeah, let's do this.
Hold it together. So, by late 85, Dahmer had begun to regularly frequent the bathhouses, which he later described as relaxing places, of course. But during his sexual encounters, he became frustrated at his partners moving during the sexual act. Following his arrest, he stated, "I trained myself to view people as objects of pleasure instead of as people. For this reason, beginning in June of 1986, he waited for his partner to fall asleep before performing various sexual acts. To maintain an adequate supply..." What?
Uh,
Medication.
Yeah.
To maintain an adequate supply of this medication.
Dahmer informed doctors he works nights and required.
What? How did I skip that far?
I don't know. I skipped it too.
Oh, okay.
It's the devil.
For this reason, he began. Okay, he administered sleeping pills to his partner.
Oh.
And would give them liquor laced with sedatives, and then waited for the partners to fall asleep and would perform the various acts. Sorry about that. Hexus, you okay there? If only Jeffrey had exhibited some red flags.
Just a sticky head.
Oh, God.
I can't get it off my hand, Jeffrey.
So he would drug them, they'd pass out, and then he would start molesting them. So to maintain an adequate supply of his medication, Dahmer would inform the doctors that he worked nights and required the tablets to adjust his body to work unsociable hours. After approximately 12 such instances, the bathhouses administration revoked Dahmer's membership, and he began to use hotel rooms to continue this practice. Shortly after his membership of the bathhouse was revoked, Dahmer read a report in the newspaper regarding the upcoming funeral of an 18-year-old male. He conceived the idea of stealing the freshly interred corpse and taking it home. According to Dahmer, he attempted to dig up the coffin from the grounds, but found the soil too hard and abandoned the plan. He's all, just kidding.
I was just
trying
to plant of flowers here.
He attended the Cosby School of Drink Making.
A bib is a bob is a bib. I can't do Cosby.
Bob Saget, when he's all, they would ask, what was it? Something about the twins would say that they want a butts hurt. They'd go to the bar on the 21st birthday. They said they wanted a butts hurt. The bartender would say...
The Olsen twins.
Yeah, the Olsen twins. The bartender would say, what's a butt hurts? And they'd say, well, I don't know. Bob Saget would give us some chocolate milk and we'd wake up later and our butts hurt.
Oh, I love Bob Saget.
So a bit of Kemper, a bit of Geen. Yes, yeah. One sick fucker that man was.
Yeah.
Which one? There were a few that we mentioned.
All right.
All right, let's get back into this.
10 more minutes. We're almost there.
I hear Freya going Nutter Butters. Wait. He got kicked out of a bathhouse? I didn't even think that was possible.
He was drugging his victims.
His boyfriends. His partners. Let's say partners.
I didn't think that was possible.
So,
yeah, I don't think it is possible,
on
actually.
September 8th, 1986, Dahmer was arrested upon a charge of lewd and lascivious behavior for masturbating in the presence of two 12-year-olds.
Oh, I think this was...
as he stood close to the Kinnickinnick River. He initially claimed he was merely urinating, unaware that there were witnesses, but soon admitted the offense. The charge was changed to disorderly conduct, and on March 10th, 1987, Dahmer was sentenced to 1 year of probation with additional instructions. He was to undergo counseling.
Yeah. Just jumps out of the bushes. Surprise!
Yeah, but that's what we were talking about earlier, though, is that we're pretty sure, like, it was a hit.
Yeah. It was
definitely sanctioned.
It was, yeah, guards definitely turned their backs on it. So
I'm going to go a little bit into the Ambassador Hotel, and this is starting to get into his late 20s and early 30s, and subsequent murders from that point forward. So, Ambassador Hotel on November 20th, 1987, Dahmer, at the time residing with his grandmother in West Allis, encountered a 25-year-old man from Ottonagon, Michigan, Steve Tuomi. He likes Stevens.
He does.
Stephen Tuomi.
He had a particular interest in, was it a Polynesian
I was talking
Or-
about Steven.
No,
The
Southeast like Asian. and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
but I don't know what that has to do with Steven.
Oh no, what was the name? Steven.
I said he likes Stevens.
Oh, he does. I'm sorry.
Stephen Hicks, Stephen Twomey.
I'm just trying to be woke.
Anyways.
Just kidding.
Anyways, at a bar, so he met Stephen Twomey at a bar and persuaded him to return to the Ambassador Hotel in Milwaukee, where Dahmer had rented a room for the evening. According to Dahmer, he had no intention of murdering Twomey, but rather intended to simply drug him and lie beside him as he explored his body. The following morning, however, Dahmer awoke to find Twomey lying beneath him on the bed, his chest crushed in and black and blue with bruises. Blood was also seeping from the corner of his mouth, and Dahmer's fists and one forearm were extensively bruised. Dahmer stated that he has no memory of killing him, and later informed investigators that he could not believe that this had happened.
Well, this goes into him. The one thing with Dahmer, he didn't like killing. So a lot of times before he killed, he got blackout drunk.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I want to make sure to put this up here because I'm going to mention it soon.
what is? Oh,
Okay.
oh yeah.
So, to dispose of Stephen Twomey's body, Dahmer purchased a large suitcase in which he transported the body to his grandmother's residence. There, 1 week later, he severed the head, arms, and legs from the torso, then filleted the bones from the body before cutting the flesh into pieces small enough to handle. Dahmer then placed the flesh inside plastic garbage bags. He wrapped the bones inside a sheet and pounded them to splinters with a sledgehammer. The entire dismemberment process took approximately 2 hours to complete. Wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
He disposed of all of Twomey's remains, including the severed head, in the trash for a total of 2 weeks following the murder. Dahmer retained the victim's head wrapped in a blanket. After 2 weeks, Dahmer boiled the head in a mixture of Soilex, an alkali-based industrial detergent, and bleach in an effort to retain the skull, which he then used as stimulus for masturbation. Eventually, the skull was rendered too brittle by the bleaching process, so Dahmer pulverized it and disposed of it. Do you think I can go a little further? No.
No, we gotta. I think we're probably at it because. Yep.
All right. So, the next episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about the intermediate incidents that came after the Twomey murder. And yeah. So, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We do want to mention that we are still accepting ghost stories for our Victorian Ghost Story show. And you can either go to psychobunnydc.com or psychomantium13.com, and it'll give you the proper information on how to submit these.
Yep.
I'm tired, guys.
Yeah, we're both tired.
Excuse me.
So
tomorrow,
Steve
we
Cat,
have Stephen P. Kitty Cat.
we might. I know right now because it's the Christmas season. There's gonna be some days where we're not on and off because family and stuff like that come by. And there's gonna be a couple of us being like that, but we might be able to go on and like tomorrow night or something like that. Or
I mean, yeah,
we'll go on after Stephen P. Kitty Cat.
Yeah, maybe we can continue this a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Stephen P. Kitty Cat is on at 10 o'clock
Eastern.
Western.
There is definitely a part 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Stephen P. Kitty Cat is on.
True crime stories like this make me feel better about my life.
Oh yeah, yeah. 10 o'clock Eastern and
Thank
7 o'clock our
you.
time. There you go.
Thank you. And definitely part 2.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll announce when we're going to go on next. Like, we'll post it.
Yeah.
And
10 p.m. There you go.
that's what I said. 10 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern. Yes.
7 p.m. our time. So, thank you for joining us tonight, and have a good night.